Big sister? Yeah. She's whooping your butt right now. She's prepared. 6. We're on it. Okay. Before I talk about commissions, what I'd like to do is explain how it works so there's no misconceptions in the transaction. Let's pretend that each one of these business cards that I'm holding simply represents 1%. And as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Normally what people believe is that all 6% is what I get to keep as the listing agent. And I just wanted to re-educate you on this process. Right off the bat, in a normal real estate transaction, I'm going to give half of whatever I charge to the cooperating broker that does all the work involved on the buyer side of the transaction and the one that finds the buyer on the property. So right off the bat, I'm going to give 3% away. So that means no longer am I making 6% like everybody imagines, I'm making 3%. And what you've got to understand is that I work for a national real estate firm, just like 99% of the agents out there. We all have to pay to be at our place of business. So right off the bat, about 1% goes to our brokerage for the ability to market your property nationally and internationally, and for the services of being at that firm. So 1% goes away. Now what I'm left with is 2%. Now I invest about 1% into the marketing and servicing of each and every listing that I take. So right away, this is what I'm left with. And this is what I survive on. This is what I feed my kids with. This is what I buy shoes with, etc. The unfortunate thing is I have to pay the same guy that you got to pay. His name is Uncle Sam. And right off the bat, oh, I'm sorry about your card, is that I have to pay Uncle Sam this, so this is what I live on. Does that help you understand commission a little bit? Now I know when I was talking to you, what happened was that you were interested in working with John. And John said that when he worked with you, that he would do it for 5%. So let's think about how that could work. Right off the bat, what's happening with John is John still has to pay the agent that brings the buyer the full 3%. You know why? Because if you don't, you try to reduce that, the agents are going to show your neighbor's house over yours. And that would be dumb. Right off the bat, 3% goes away. Now, I'm pretty sure that John doesn't work out of his car or a barn, but he's a real estate professional and he works at a professional firm, so which means he has to pay the broker, correct? So I gotta ask you a question. Of the 1% left, which one do you think he's gonna skimp on? Investing in the marketing and servicing of your listing, or feeding his kids, buying shoes, and surviving? Does that make sense? Here's what I was saying, the same thing as you, is he was willing to skimp on the marketing and the investment to get your property sold. And what I know about you, just in a few minutes or hour we spent together, is that you're a business person and you don't really care about what's charged. You care about the end of the day when you're sitting in your moving truck and you're driving away, how much does that check say, correct? And if I could net you the most amount of money and I could still get a reasonable fee, give my kids some shoes and feed them, pay the IRS and my brokerage, right? And pay the agent that brings the buyer, don't you think that 6% would be fair? Absolutely. Does that make sense? They're not negotiating against the 6% because the only reason they do this is they think that's what you're getting. Right. And what you got to say is I have a standard. My standard is I take care of my family, my business, my reserves, and everything else first. And I'm going to invest enough marketing and time and services into it, right? So my 3% is not negotiable. And it's not fair to not pay the buyer's agent their amount. So 6% is where we start. Does that make sense?